Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of MindZ. So today, you are sitting here looking at my video editor, wondering why it took me so long to finish this contest. Well, basically, I've been busy with school and a lot of other things, but that's not important. What's important is that today we're back, and here it is, the thing. So there's been a bunch of submissions, as you can see on the left. I got a whole bunch of files, and they're each like 30 minutes or longer. Originally, I wanted to have them all done like a video playthrough, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top 5 of the ones that I liked, and then I'm going to just say the parts that I liked, and then the last one I'll do a video playthrough of my favorite dungeon. So yeah, other than that, let's get started, and yeah. Alrighty, so the first one we have today is number 5, Kare Crypt, and this is made by Cinder1224, I think. If I got the numbers wrong, whatever, boy. Okay, so the premise of the dungeon was pretty simple. You walked into the Kari tree, which was very nicely built here, by the way. You walked in, and then you had to avoid some plates, not die. You would have some parkour to do, and then there was a quick wave room with some unique mobs, as well as a parkour room over Pigman. Once you finished all that, essentially you would go to this maze of netherrack, and then that was it. You would appear in the loot room once you finished all that. The dungeon overall I thought was pretty good. It was very balanced. I didn't think it was too hard, too easy, but overall I thought that the theming was really good up until he started using like stained clay and then obsidian and netherrack. So like it could have really worked a little better with that, you know, tree making theme. But overall, I like the dungeon. I found that it was a good one, and it's something that I feel like we need a few more of in the game right now. Just kind of simple, easy dungeons that you need 1 or 2 people to do. So overall, I gave that one a quick thumbs up, and yeah. Number 4 was, let's see, number 4 would have been by OrcaHedron, and I'm not exactly sure if this has a name or not, but essentially you started up at the top here. There's this very nice structure, one of my favorite builds, and I thought that throughout the entire thing the builds were very consistent. So you started at the top, you would have dropped down, and then there was a couple parkour things. So you parkour over top of these vines, I guess, around some more vines, and then there was one of my favorite puzzles I think I saw in this entire challenge, which was this vine kind of puzzle. It didn't exactly go on very long, but it just felt like it used the Minecraft mechanics very well, and you were able to actually hold on to the vines and go through this without actually being next to any blocks. So obviously there was some, some thought that went into that, so I really liked that. And then it finished in this kind of like flooded tunnels cave looking thing, and this was just such impossible parkour, and one of my least favorite little rooms was this one here with we had to go up and over these stupid stairs. It took me forever, and I found that, you know, once you beat that, you still had to do some more parkour. So then if you failed that part, you had to redo the whole room. So obviously I gave up like, 10 seconds in. But overall, the dungeon was really good. I thought it was a little too hard in terms of parkour, and that nobody reasonably would want to do this dungeon. But if it was toned down a little bit, I think it would look really cool. Number 3 was, let's see, number 3 was made by DJ Pedro. So he made 2 submissions himself. I actually like this one better than the other one. There were a couple things that I didn't like about it. Just some of the theming felt a little off. He basically made it a parkour for each trial. So there was one for Simoon, one for Therum, one for Pluvia, and one for Agni. And then I think there was one also for Dentral, and then one at the end for Hestral. But yeah, so I thought it was alright. What I really loved about this dungeon was the time parkour at the end, and this is what really did it for me. This time parkour at the end just like felt so good completing it. I don't know why, but it was just like, you could just go and go and go, and if you made it, it was well timed and well put together. And I think that was the end of the trial. I think that was the end of the dungeon. Yeah, so I mean, I'll put it at number 3. It hits my number 3, so just because I didn't feel like there was much else to it other than that one. I think if you combine both his dungeons together and, you know, cut out a few bits, then it would have been cool. Number 2 was a dungeon made by Crumon. Now this dungeon actually had a lot of mechanics into it, and it actually worked out really well. I really liked it. So you started off, I guess, doing this drop the needle thing. I can't even remember. Yeah, so there would have been this drop the needle, just kind of like meteor crater here, and then what would happen is you would immediately die, obviously, if you missed. And then there was this kind of time parkour that you could see which way you were going, and I thought that was really cool, just because, you know, it fit the lava theme. I thought it was kind of weird with the the color scheme, but, you know, that's just a minor thing. I guess it did fit the jumping platforms, which is cool, and I also thought how I really liked how they had the color changing, so you knew how much time you had left. So after that, you ended up in like a lobby which had each of the trials. So I noticed that a couple people like to do, you know, these trial themed puzzles, which was cool. This was actually another really good puzzle here. It was kind of like a temple run sort of thing. You had to just run really quickly through through a couple hallways, and you obviously had a certain amount of time to get through. If not, you had to restart. And I don't know, it was cool because there was little punishment, so you could just keep trying over and over and over again without having to worry about dying instantly. I thought it was, you know, interesting, good mechanics. It was a good challenge, and yeah, so that was a good one too. And then this one was kind of like a Devil's Respite, but it was different, which is, again, I really liked. And so what it did, obviously, as you're going to see here, is that, you know, the pattern would stay the same, but again, the punishment wouldn't entirely kill you. So like Devil's Respite, for example, once you fail the pattern, you literally just die, that's it. But this one was like, okay, you know, there was a strategy to it, and you had to know exactly which places to go, which I really liked. And, you know, I think the punishment was like something to do with zombies or whatever. After that, we moved into a room where we had to, it was kind of like Pallister, where you had to defend the middle, and again, that was alright. Kind of, you know, similar stuff that we've already seen before, but it worked well. And then the last room, I believe, or one of the last rooms, yeah, the second last room here, was a parkour trial, which I thought was cool. You basically sent one person down, they would do a parkour, and every time they failed, it would add a tick, and the more times you failed, the harder the punishment was. So you do that 1, 2, 3, 4 times, which was cool. I thought it was a bit long, but that's just me. And then after that, there was the final trial, which was kind of like Shrine, where you would have one person standing in the middle, and then the person would progressively be doing reaching checkpoints. The only part I didn't like, obviously, was just that if you died, you're done, right? Like, that was it, and then you'd have to send somebody new. I also thought that the punishment was a little too hard. And yeah, other than that, it was pretty good. A very well thought out dungeon with lots of unique trials. Right, and the moment you all have been waiting for, guys, the number one, my favorite dungeon from all of your guys' submissions. Just like to thank you guys again for all your submissions and all the time you guys put into this. I know it took me a while, but here we go. The number one was made by Crumon. I have no idea what the dungeon is called. It was pretty straightforward, and I thought that it was just long enough, although there were a few parts which I did find a little too hard. So you started out in this Roseluck looking room where you had to find certain buttons that were hidden in the room to kind of open it up and then allow you to parkour across. The parkour itself was actually really hard, and because you had to do it like 6 or 7 times, did not make it too much fun. But after this toxic skeleton room that I just absolutely hated, you went into this other hallway where you would shoot some buttons which would make kind of like a warp ruin sort of thing that was actually, you know, doable as a team, but as well soloable. And I just thought, you know what, it was really cool, and it was a good challenge, good difficulty. After that, you tried one of my favorite puzzles, which was the this one where you shoot all the zombies. And then you finished that one, and then you were in your last room, or second last room, where you had to find a whole bunch of buttons and just kind of survive, you know, spawners and stuff. And then the last room, which was just to get out, was kind of a shoot the gauntlet. I didn't like it too much, just because, you know, you've gone through all that work. But overall, I thought that the dungeon, once, you know, it had a good learning curve. So once you finished it and you knew what to do, you could go back and definitely do it really easily. I just thought that there was a lot of unique trials in this one. One of my favorites being the shooting the zombies out of the air, which was like actually one of my favorites of all time. I did not like this one where you had to run through the skeletons. But I thought that overall, had the dungeon been a little shorter, you could take out like 1 or 2 rooms. It could definitely be a good dungeon for anybody going solo, or anybody going solo, and just like a good fun dungeon to repeatedly do and see if you can beat. I thought that the moving staircase where you have to shoot the arrows was also really good, and definitely doable by yourself if you're good enough. If not, then a team really helps you out here. So yeah, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much again. All the files for these world downloads will be in the description, and if they get taken down, that's because whoever put up the dungeon didn't want them anymore on the internet. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in 6,000 years.